Hey, it's the Clockwork Mage and this broadcast spell is live. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be doing a new segment, a new series, the first installment of it, and it is called D&D Horror Stories. So welcome, everyone. Today, I am going to talk about instances and problems I've had in the past with players and other things that may happen as a DM. And I'm going to let you guys in on my secrets on how to take care of those issues in a nice, informative manner. Now, I hope all of this is helpful for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the story. So today we are going to be talking about the lone wolf character. Now, this has been a problem that plagues a lot of DMs. I've talked about this issue to so many DMs. They all have this issue. They all have the issue of having a player that wants to be a lone wolf. And that's really hard to do in a team-based game, especially when the whole point is to bring everyone together and have everyone work together to solve issues. And the characters are specifically made to not be able to beat everything that comes their way. You have to be able to work together. So the story I'm going to tell is when I was DMing, and I was first DMing. So this was a big issue for me, and it was very hard for me to take care of. When I first started DMing, I had a player that every single character, no matter what campaign I did, and I was a new DM, so I was making new campaigns every other week, I swear. But every campaign I did and every character this player made, he would make a character that just would not work with the group, or he would be hateful towards someone in the group, or he would have some sort of beef, or something would happen. There would be something where he just couldn't work with at least one, if not the whole group at the same time. He made it extremely hard to play the game, and as a naive new DM, I kind of saw that as just how his character is, and I should have known better. But of course, being new, you can't know everything, and I don't blame myself, but I hope that if this sounds familiar to you, that you'll stay and listen to what I ended up doing to fix the issues. The first character, and the more prominent one that he ended up making that just went against the group, was basically a ranger that ended up playing more like a rogue in the end because of how lone wolf he was. He would do everything to get on about half of the party's nerves. He pissed off all of the party members that really wanted to push forward and do lawful things, but not just the lawful characters. He also pissed off the players outside of the game that just wanted to move on with the story. So even if their characters weren't mad at him, the players were as well. This went on for months. It was horrible. I, again, should not have let it go on this long. But I kind of played along, hoping that at some point he had some sort of character arc plan where he would join up with the party and realize, you know what, I'm better making whole of the party rather than trying to split it up. That was more my first mistake. I assumed that that was the player's goal, and I should not have assumed that. I should have talked with the player. I should have brought things up. But anyways, I'm jumping ahead. So as we played more and more, this player started to drive a wedge between him and his really good friend that he was also playing with in my party. And him and his friend were against the rest of the other. Now this was a big party. I had 8 players in it. So he drove a wedge between those two and 6 other players. And it got so bad to the point that the characters in the game started infighting. And they started just letting the other side die, basically. And I let this go on way too long, I will admit. And I'll stop saying that now. I'll just continue telling the story. But just know that no matter how experienced you are, you're not immune to anything that can come your way. And I hope that everything you learn will help you push forward as a better DM. The character basically ended up being almost a bodyguard for his buddy because they really had to feel like they fought for themselves. And it got so bad that when the players characters were at each other's throats, the players outside of game were at each other's throats too. They would get mad whenever they did something that felt like out of character. It felt like the players were nitpicking each other, and it was making it very hostile. The whole group became hostile towards each other, and they started planning things outside of the group to try to get rid of the other players' characters. They started doing missions where they had to pull me aside and I had to not let the other players know. They started passing me notes to hide from the other players. They couldn't trust each other to not metagame. It had gotten so bad. It spiraled way out of control. It really put a strain on our friendships. It put a strain on the group. The more we played, the worse it got. I didn't intervene. I didn't step in. I let things play as it was, and that was really the wrong choice. I should have stepped in much earlier, as soon as I started seeing issues, but I didn't understand they were issues at the time. Surprisingly, the campaign ended up collapsing before the players really got at each other, if that makes any sense. The characters were just about to fight, but as they were about to fight, everyone kind of all at the same time decided, I don't want to play this game anymore. And understandably so. I would hope that if you were a player in this situation, you would have stepped away by then, way before then. If you were a player in my campaign and I was letting this happen, please walk away. I don't want anyone to be having a bad time at my table. That's kind of what I've come to realize is I was kind of putting everyone through the stress of each other, and I wasn't intervening, and I really let it get so far that the party collapsed. Now, mind you, our friendship was pretty strong at that point, so we ended up just making another campaign with new characters, and I kind of implemented a rule thinking that it was an alignment thing, that they couldn't be chaotic neutral. That's what the lone wolf was. It took me another campaign or two to realize it was actually the player and not the character, but I digress. Long story short, it was stressful. Every single game, we dreaded going to D&D sometimes. I dreaded it, at least. I know some of my other players did. I'd talk to them. And I'd even ask those players what I should be doing, but they had extremely biased views, and nothing against them. They were just on the other side of it. It should have been really up to me what should have happened. And I do take full accountability and responsibility for not handling the situation better, especially as the dungeon master, since I'm the one that is able to kind of pull people back and bring the party together, and I didn't do that as well as I should have. I let it be too open, and which open isn't a bad thing, but I let the anger fester in an open way, and I really had my shortcomings here. Now that I've kind of informed you guys on the story and a small tidbit of what happened, it wasn't really anything in-game. It was mostly small petty out-of-game actions and in-game very petty actions. At some point, he literally ended up breaking another player's arms in-game, thankfully. But it got so bad. He was sabotaging other players. I don't know how I let it get that far. Looking back, of course, hindsight's 20/20, but I was blind. I was absolutely blind. I should have really, really done anything at that point. Anything would have been better than what I did. But now looking back with more experience, and this was before I was able to get my communications bachelor's and other things like that, so I understand communication a lot better now. What you should do if you're a DM in that situation is you should start by talking to the player one-on-one. Don't call them out in front of the group. Don't make it even more frustrating, and don't make them feel attacked. You really, 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 and I'm emphasizing this, you should listen. You really don't want to do that if it's the very first instance of you catching wind or a red flag or something like that. Bring it up to them. Ask them questions. Ask them how they are feeling and why they're doing things like this. And even if it's an in-character reason, you have to bring up to them that they have to play ball. They have to play with their party. If they're not going to play with their party, there's no use of them being there. They're just going to be the antagonist. And at that point, I'd say, well, I'll just make a villain arc for you and I can pull you aside and we'll play a different game. And we can have you interact with the players indirectly instead of directly. Because all it's going to do is add frustration and it's going to add resentment between the players. Because the lone wolf is going to think, well, you're not letting me play my character. And then the other players are going to be like, well, you're ruining the fun for us. And those are both completely valid views for both sides. Because if that's how their character is, understandably, they'd be upset. But why bring a character like that to a group that wants to work together? That's my whole thing. You should have someone that is willing to work with the other characters. If talking to them one-on-one does not work, then the next step would be talking to the group as a whole and bring them in on it. Make sure they are there. Do not talk behind their back. It leads to so many bad things. Talk with them there. Because then you need to bring up the other party members' concerns. Because if it is to the point where the other party members are having issue with it, they will have some concerns to say, and make sure you don't let them attack the lone wolf. Do not do that. It's your friend. The idea is that you are all friends. You all want to cooperate. And if that's not the case, you have other issues on your hands. I can't help you with that. But the idea is you all come to the table as friends, and you all come to the table looking to have fun playing D&D. That's what you all come to the table looking to do. And if that's the case, then you can all talk to each other like friends and bring up that you're all not having fun. You're having issues with what's going on and you want to resolve it and you want to keep having fun with all of your friends. Even though you are all friends and things continue to persist and continue to go poorly, I would be at the point of asking the player to switch characters. At that point, all of your players are upset. They're aggravated. They start talking. They'd already be saying things like, I don't want to play with him anymore. If it's to that point, I mean, I'd be surprised if players didn't just walk away from the table at that point. If it's to that point, you need to start putting your foot down saying, hey, I don't want you to play this character. You're causing everyone to have a horrible time. I really have concern for the state of the game and how everyone's feeling about it. They're just not having a good time anymore, and I really want to try to remedy that and work with you on it. Truly try to work with them. Truly try to help them make a character, and a new character at that, that'll fit in better and help them experience the game in a fun way. Help them out. Don't leave them floundering. Don't point fingers at them. They may be, and this is a little secret, they may actually be the issue. But that's not how you want to frame it. They're your friend, right? You want to bring them in and let them feel like that you are cooperating with them, not that you're trying to point them down or trying to make them feel bad about what they're doing. Everyone has a way to play D&D, and everyone should enjoy D&D the way they want. Of course, that also comes with a caveat of having everyone enjoy it, though. If one person is ruining the fun for everyone, then that's not fair to everyone else. So while I truly believe everyone should be having fun, one person shouldn't be taking the fun away from everyone else either. Last thing, if none of that works, if all three of those steps do not work, and mind you, if none of those steps work and you're already down here, I'd already be asking myself if I'm really friends with that person. That's a whole nother story, and I hope no one watching this is at that point. But if none of that works, at that point, I would truly think of having them step away from the table. I would ask them to not play with me. They don't want to work with me. They don't want to work with everyone else. They don't care if anyone else is having fun. I don't want that to be everyone else's problem. They may be my best friend in the world, but even I have asked one of my childhood friends to step away from the table before. It wasn't easy, and I might tell that story another time. But I've done it before, and it was for the better. It was hard, and I won't go down that route right now, but just know it's for the better if truly someone won't cooperate and someone just ruins the fun for everyone else. that's it. At that point, I don't know. There's nothing past that. Don't hide anything from them. Let them know up front how you feel. Let them know what the issues are and give them the chance to change. Don't take things into your hand and jump to this ending step. If you jump to this step, you're the bad friend. Then you were never friends with them in the first place. Truly have them understand the issues at hand and how everyone feels. Communication is key, and communication is what's gonna make the game more fun for everyone. Now, I hope everyone's learned something today. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video and enjoyed my talking of a DM horror story. Now, if you have any D&D horror stories that you want to tell, or you want to hear me tell, please put them in the comments below. If I like them, I will tell the story, and I'll give you an explanation at the end of the video like I did this one, to give you an idea of what I would do in that situation. You can always join my Discord, the link is below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.